At 14 years old, he was stacking groceries in a small supermarket in Puerto Rico, while the world around him moved on like he didn't exist. Customers walked past him without noticing. Managers treated him like just another employee. Nobody looked at him and thought, that kid is going to become one of the biggest artists on the planet. Because before the sold-out stadiums, before the millions of fans screaming his name, before becoming a global icon, Bad Bunny was just Benito Antonio Martinez Ocasio, a quiet kid from Vega Baja trying to survive a reality that felt much smaller than his dreams. He wasn't born into fame, money, or powerful industry connections. His family lived a simple life. His mother was a school teacher. His father worked as a truck driver. There was love in the house, but there wasn't luxury. There wasn't opportunity waiting around the corner. And in Puerto Rico, dreaming big often felt dangerous because reality constantly reminded you of your limitations. But music became an escape. Long before anyone knew the name Bad Bunny, Benito was obsessed with sound. He grew up listening to salsa, merengue, reggaeton, and Latin trap. Music wasn't background noise in Puerto Rico, it was emotion, identity, survival. And slowly, that music started shaping him. As a kid, he sang in the church choir, but even then, there was already something different about him. He didn't want to sound like everyone else. He didn't want to fit perfectly into expectations. He wanted freedom. And that desire to be different would later become the exact reason the world noticed him. But at the time, being different didn't make life easier. In fact, it made things harder. Benito was introverted, quiet, reserved. He wasn't the loudest person in the room. He wasn't the stereotypical image of a future superstar. And because of that, people underestimated him constantly. They saw someone ordinary, someone forgettable. But the most dangerous people are often the ones nobody notices. Because while everyone else is distracted, they're building something in silence. While other people were partying, Benito was writing lyrics. While others chased temporary attention, he focused on creating a sound that felt real to him. Late nights alone, cheap headphones, recording music with almost no resources, uploading songs online with no guarantee anyone would listen. That's the part people never see. They only see success after it becomes visible. They never see the years where nothing seems to happen. And those years are where most dreams die. Because eventually reality starts attacking your confidence. You started asking yourself difficult questions. What if this never works? What if I'm wasting my time? What if everybody else is right about me? Benito lived inside those thoughts for years. During the day, he worked at a grocery store bagging groceries and stocking shelves. At night, he made music. Imagine the contrast. One version of him scanning products under fluorescent lights, while another version imagined performing in front of thousands of people. Most people would have killed that dream early because dreams become painful when your current life looks nothing like them. But Benito kept going, quietly, consistently, and that consistency became his advantage. He started uploading songs to SoundCloud. No marketing team, no label, no expensive studio, just raw emotion and authenticity. The songs weren't polished in the traditional sense. They sounded different, experimental, imperfect, and that's exactly why people connected with them, because authenticity cuts through noise faster than perfection ever will. Slowly, people started paying attention. Small numbers at first. A few shares, a few comments, a few listeners turning into real fans. And then came the moment that changed everything. A song uploaded online caught the attention of DJ Luyan, one of the most influential producers in Latin music. Suddenly, the kid stocking groceries in Puerto Rico wasn't invisible anymore. But here's what people misunderstand about breakthrough moments. They think success happens instantly. It doesn't. Opportunity only exposes the work you've already done in silence, and Benito had been preparing for that moment for years. When the industry first started noticing him, many people still doubted him. Executives didn't fully understand his style. Critics questioned his voice, his delivery, his appearance. He didn't look polished enough. He didn't behave like a traditional Latin artist. He wore what he wanted. He spoke how he wanted. He ignored expectations, and that terrified people because the industries love control. But Benito understood something powerful. The moment you sacrifice authenticity to gain approval, you lose the very thing that makes you special. So instead of changing himself to fit the industry, he forced the industry to adapt to him. That decision changed Latin music forever. Songs like Soy Pure exploded because they felt emotionally raw, vulnerable, honest. People weren't just hearing music. They were hearing pain, frustration, heartbreak, ego, loneliness, ambition, and millions connected with it because deep down, everyone wants to feel understood. As his popularity grew, so did the pressure. Suddenly, Benito wasn't just making songs in his room anymore. Now there were expectations, deadlines, critics, fame, and fame changes everything. The world starts watching every move you make. Every outfit becomes a headline. Every sentence becomes controversial. Every mistake becomes public. Most people think fame solves insecurity, but often it amplifies it. Because now you're no longer fighting private battles. You're fighting them in front of millions. And Bad Bunny faced criticism constantly. People mocked the way he dressed, the way he spoke, the way he challenged masculinity in Latin culture. But instead of shrinking himself to avoid criticism, he became louder, more expressive, more unapologetic, and that made him dangerous in the best possible way, because confidence is contagious. The more authentic he became, the more people connected with him. He represented freedom, the freedom to stop performing for approval, the freedom to exist without asking permission. And that message resonated far beyond music. But success came with sacrifices most people never see. Exhaustion, isolation, pressure to constantly outperform yourself. There's a hidden loneliness that comes with becoming globally recognized. The higher you climb, the fewer people truly understand what your life feels like. There were moments where Benito disappeared from social media, moments where the pressure clearly affected him, because behind the superstar image was still the same introverted kid from Puerto Rico trying to process a life that changed faster than any human being can fully understand. But despite the pressure, he continued evolving. Album after album, he refused to repeat himself. While many artists chase formulas, Bad Bunny chased growth. And growth is risky, because it means people might reject the new version of you, but he accepted that risk repeatedly. Albums like YHLQMDLG, El Último Tour del Mundo, and Un Verano Sin Ti didn't just dominate charts, they changed culture. He became the first all-Spanish language artist to truly dominate global streaming platforms at a level the industry once believed impossible. Think about that for a second. The industry spent decades believing that artists needed to adapt to English to fully conquer the world. Bad Bunny proved the opposite. He didn't change his language to fit global audiences. The global audience adapted to him. That level of influence is rare. And it didn't happen because he followed trends. It happened because he trusted himself when nobody else fully understood him. But the deeper truth behind his success has nothing to do with numbers, awards, or streams. It's about identity. Bad Bunny became powerful because he refused to become a watered-down version of himself. In an industry obsessed with image control, he stayed unpredictable, authentic, human, and people are starving for authenticity in a world full of performance. That's why millions connect with him emotionally. Because when someone fully owns who they are, it gives other people permission to do the same. But even after global success, the pressure never disappears. Every new project carries expectations. Every appearance becomes analyzed. And maintaining success is often harder than achieving it, because now you're competing against your own legacy. Yet Benito continues taking risks, continues experimenting, continues evolving, and that mindset separates icons from temporary celebrities. Temporary celebrities chase relevance, icons chase truth, and truth lasts longer. Bad Bunny's story isn't just about music. It's about becoming comfortable being misunderstood. It's about continuing forward even when people laugh at your vision. It's about staying loyal to yourself when the world pressures you to become easier to control. Because before the fame, there is rejection. Before the money, there is insecurity. Before the sold-out stadiums, there is a quiet kid stocking shelves wondering if any of this would ever matter. And that's a part people forget when they look at successful people. They only see the outcome. They don't see the years of invisibility, the uncertainty, the loneliness, the moments where quitting would have been easier. Most people never reach their potential because they stop during the invisible phase. The phase where effort brings a little reward. The phase where nobody claps for you, nobody believes in you, nobody sees your vision except you. And surviving that phase requires something deeper than motivation. It requires obsession, discipline, faith, the ability to continue without immediate validation. Benito survived that phase because he stopped chasing approval early. He focused on expression instead of acceptance. And ironically, that's what made the world finally accept him. There's something powerful about people who fully embrace themselves. It disrupts expectations. It forces people to reconsider their own limitations. And Bad Bunny became a symbol of that disruption. Not because he tried to become a symbol, but because authenticity naturally inspires people. Today, millions see confidence when they look at him, but confidence is rarely something people are born with. More often, it's built through surviving judgment repeatedly until fear loses power over you. And Benito survived years of being doubted, mocked, underestimated, and misunderstood. Those experiences didn't destroy him. They refined him. They gave him emotional armor, and that armor allowed him to step onto the world stage without apologizing for who he was. But the most important part of his story is this. Success did not begin when the world noticed him. Success began years earlier when nobody noticed him and he kept going anyway. That's where greatness actually starts. In silence, in repetition, in invisible effort, long before recognition arrives, long before the spotlight finds you. Everyone wants the reward, but very few people are willing to survive the process required to earn it. The rejection, the uncertainty, the feeling of being invisible while everyone else seems ahead of you. And that's why so many dreams disappear before they ever have a chance to become reality. Not because people lack talent, but because they stop too early. They abandon themselves before the world even has the opportunity to see what they could have become. Bad Bunny didn't become successful because life was easy for him. He became successful because he stayed authentic when authenticity was risky. Because he trusted his vision before there was proof. Because he kept creating while the world ignored him. And in the end, that's what separates people who transform culture from people who simply participate in it. They continue when nobody is watching. They continue when doubt becomes heavy. They continue when success still feels impossible. Because before the glory there is struggle. Before recognition there is invisibility. Before confidence there is insecurity. And before Bad Bunny became one of the biggest artists on earth, there is simply Benito. A quiet kid from Puerto Rico refusing to give up on himself.